Oops, gotta pause that. So we'll turn this on. Y muy buenas noches, buenas tardes. No sé. I don't know. No sé exactamente. I don't know exactly, but yeah, we're going to boom, 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 bop around a little bit tonight. We'll see. And disculpenme, por favor. Please forgive me, everybody, because I really meant to, when I told you to watch the video, I meant to include a disclaimer and say part of your homework is to find the one mistake in the video.
Uh-oh.
And a lot of you did, even though I didn't warn you. I forgot to put that blip in, probably because there was just too much going on in my life. Anyway, there was one error, and it was like super obvio, un error super obvio. So we're going to review what the, ¿cuál fue? Which one was? ¿Cuál fue el error super obvio del pretérito versus el imperfecto? And I am going to, can you see right through the screen now? See? Es eso. Here is the big blooper. And I think there is one person filming and a separate, different person processing the video after the filming, because there is no way this person making this video would have made this mistake. Y el error. Sí, on Monday, que es un día, sí, fíjense bien, pay good attention to that. On Monday, there were discounts at the supermarket, and you went there. Say it with huy. And what they crossed out, what they wound up crossing out was the right answer. So,
well, okay. There were a couple more questions after that I kind of questioned.
Well, you are welcome to ask. We will cruise through these. Now, why that happened, I don't know, but that is this what you see on the screen right now. Really,
after they said
that is a big bad one. Because actually, the next one is the same thing, but saying on Mondays, or like every Monday, I went to the store. And that obviously had to be the IVA. So this one, número 3, fue el error, el gran error, the great error.
Wouldn't you want to proof your video before you send it out?
But people from YouTube, YouTube requires people to post X number of times per week in order to, I think there are things in with how you collect revenue and all that. So, yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to back up to see if you've got any questions about any of these, since Karen, you said you'd like a couple other ones. So, telling a story from your childhood. And that one was Cuando tenía 5 años. This one here in the little quiz at the end of this video, this particular one, number 1, should be a knee-jerk reaction chunk of words, okay? If you take nothing else away from this video, this kind of expression, which could as a variation be when I was 5, when I was 20, when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, when I was a young adult, when I was an employee at blum, 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 okay, lo que sea, whatever it may be. Anything that starts off with that kind of an idea is always going to be imperfecto. Okay.
Pregunta.
Sí, dime.
What if it's when I was 5 years old, I was in a car accident. Would that be imperfect?
When I was 5 years old, sí, imperfecto. But I was in a car accident, or I had a car accident that part would not be imperfecto.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. So this is where those two past tenses diverge and do very different jobs. Yeah. They do different jobs. And what we're going to practice with after something kind of easier as a warm up will kind of be taking a look at some pictures and seeing what ideas you can come up with to talk about something in the past, because each of those tenses in the past has a different job to do. Okay, so this video was meant to set you up to start thinking about that on kind of a deeper level. Okay, so anything that talks about being of a certain age in the past has to go into imperfecto. And the real deep grammatical type reason for that is that anything describing age, anything describing, but in this more particular case, anything describing a general age is description and therefore is imperfecto. Okay, and the next example had here, it was the second half of that phrase. So Kathy, this is exactly like your question. When I was 5 years old, I was in an accident. Okay, this is the same dichotomy. Number one was the setup when I was 5. I broke my tobillo ankle, okay? And to express the second half of that, and the second half is an event, yeah? We will need, me fracturé el tobillo, or se me rompió el tobillo, whichever verb you want to use to say I broke, yeah? You didn't willfully break your own ankle, but it happened to you. Me fracturé, I fractured. Okay, so B there would be the right answer. We already talked about tres, el gran error, the big blooper. But this next one, if you wanted to say that every Monday you went to the supermarket, that does flip into iba. So the difference between iba and fui is that iba will be triggered by something like los lunes. When we take a day of the week, any day of the week, right? If I phrase it as el lunes or el domingo or el sábado or el viernes, it means on that one day. But if I flip the el lunes or el domingo or el viernes into los viernes, los domingos, los lunes, I then am flipping it into a different territory entirely, saying that this is a habitual every single week on that day, which means repetitive action. And that needs imperfecto. So this one, cuatro, was iba al supermercado los lunes porque había descuentos. But notice that the había descuentos is always había descuentos. There were discounts, yeah. We generally use hubo when there's an event. Discount isn't an event. It's a thing. Oh, the discounts were there. And that's always going to be había, description, imperfecto. Okay. 5, 5, 5, número 5. Número 5. When I was living in Boston, my parents called every day, and every day, todos los días, needs repetition. Me llamaban, right. If it was, they called me on a specific day, then it would be me llamaron with a specific day. But todos los días is going to indicate repetition, and repetition needs imperfecto. Okay. Esto sí, this one was kind of fun. Yeah. You hear something go boom in your house. This sounds like my house. Wow. She's psychic. Something goes boom in the house and someone go, wow. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? And would it be me caía or me caí? Caerse is to fall down. In English, we have to include the idea of down. In Spanish, the idea of down becomes reflexive.
Well, it was just a one-time event, so I would say
One-time event, right? Me caí, pero no pasó nada, but nothing happened. No pasó nada. Kind of like, saying nothing went on here. If you hear it in present, no pasa nada, nothing going on, don't worry about it. Yeah. No pasa nada is a way of somebody telling you, don't worry about it, don't sweat it. Nothing going on here to look at. Okay. But we flip it into the past, that no pasó nada part becomes pretérito. That one would not make any sense. The second half of the sentence in red wouldn't make any sense at all if you put that into imperfecto. That's always expressed as pretérito. Nothing happened here. Y es el último. Sí, interesante. What did you do these past holidays? And take the S off of holidays, because holidays are just referring to like the Christmas and New Year's combo of that great big stretch of a couple weeks where everybody takes time off, right? Past holiday, meaning this last holiday season. Okay. What did you do over the holidays? And it would have to be, we ate a lot. And wow, why do we have conocer here? Anybody got an idea? Conocimos un montón de sitios nuevos, and they translated that as I visited a lot of new places, which is actually a super good translation. Even though it doesn't say visitamos. No dice visitamos, but conocimos there does can carry with it the idea of visited. Why do we have conocer there?
It's like meeting for the first time, become familiar with something for the first time.
new places, yeah, visiting.
Yeah, conocer has two jobs in Spanish. But the overarching thing is to know something well. And why do you know something well? You know something well because you have experience with it. And therefore, conocer is for knowing people because you've actually face-to-face had contact with them. Okay. And conocer also means knowing your way around a place, meaning you've actually been there. And that's why I like this translation of visited a lot of places, because you actually physically went to those places. Therefore, you know your way around. So, conocimos un montón de sitios. I got familiar with a bunch of places because I went there. In parentheses, because I went there. Yeah. And the pretérito gives us that.
They are talking about, they did these things a bunch of times during this.
No. You only have to meet somebody once to use conocer.
That's true. But but in general, that we ate a lot and we visited a lot of places. So we didn't just go visit one place. We did it over and over.
Not necessarily.
We visited over and over.
Well, okay. Over the holidays, we probably ate. It just says we ate a lot.
But isn't it a limited time, the holiday?
It's a limited time. And that's that is really, that's the key point, is that we're putting this, can you put that period of time into a neat little box? Yeah.
Okay, so it's a specific time period.
Right. Specific time period. Exacto. Yeah. Not as vague as when I was 5.
You're right.
When you think back to when I was 5, were you really still 4 or were you maybe 6? But, when you say 5, it's like that whole year, and that may bleed off into, yeah. Do you remember exactly? Nah, like around when I was 5. Yeah. Was I still doing that stuff when I was 6 or when I was 4? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's fuzzy. Right? But over the holidays, that's from, I don't know, December 18th to January 2nd or 3rd. It's a nice, wow, I can put that into a neat box of time. Bien, y es el último. No, hay uno más. There's one more. Why didn't he like school? because people made fun of him. Okay. And there we're really talking about a habitual thing. Porque la gente se burlaba de él. Burlarse es to make fun of, to mock, to humiliate people, really. Burlarse is a sad verb. Because kids made fun of him, and they probably did that, day after day, often during the week. Poor kid. ¿Y por qué no le gustaba la escuela? No le gustaba el colegio. And that's why he didn't like it. And I think that was our last. Sí, fue el último. Any other questions on any of those before we leave that? Or no? No? Nada? Bien, okay. Vale. Muy bien. Okay, lo que vamos a hacer, what we're going to do is I want to play, and this is kind of for fun. This is a think on your feet kind of thing, but we're going to start off for thinking on your feet and giving you a reaction on your feet with some easier stuff, things that don't require a whole great big long sentence. Yeah, see? And by the way, there isn't going to be no one sole only right answer to these, but we want to see what your reaction is. And she's going to give some possible reactions, but I'm going to pause it before we get to that and see if you can come up with some ways you would respond in this situation. So it's going to be fairly easy stuff. Vamos a ver. We'll do some easy stuff before we do the harder past tense stuff. This will not deal with past tense per se. It will just be ways to respond in a specific situation that is really mucha de la conversación, really adapted to conversation. So we're getting our feet wet with easy stuff. And I am going to, okay. ¿Qué digo? What do I say in reaction conversationally in this situation?
¿Qué digo? Que va a ser el título de este vídeo. Y luego pues aparecerá una situación. En este caso tenemos ¿qué digo si alguien estornuda? Esto es algo que en nuestros idiomas.
¿Qué digo si alguien estornuda? What do I do if somebody does this? ¿Qué digo? What do I say?
Salud.
Dice salud.
Salud. Salud, que es health, the equivalent of the German Gesundheit. Yeah, sí. Salud. Algo más. Salud is the most natural, right? She's going to show you a couple other things that may surprise you. And I'm going to play this because somebody could easily actually respond this and you would think, what the heck are they saying that for? And this will be why.
Todos sabemos.
Okay.
Y decimos casi automáticamente. Pero puede ser que hayas sobrevivido a lo mejor un año o el tiempo que lleves aprendiendo español sin saber cómo se dice esto en español. Pues a lo mejor sí. Hay personas a las que les pasa. Esta es una actividad que yo hago algunas veces con mis estudiantes y he encontrado muchos casos en los
I'm sorry, we're going to try to get straight to the chase.
Podrás pensar durante un momentito. Cuando alguien estornuda es salud.
Salud.
O podemos decir Jesús.
Wow, here's the one that may surprise you.
No.
What does Jesus have to do with sneezing, baby? Yeah, but you may hear somebody respond that way.
Keeps the spirits away.
She actually has a very interesting explanation for why. I want to see if you can pick up why. And I put the closed captions on so you can hear.
Y a mucha gente le sorprende que digamos Jesús.
It surprises many people that you might say Jesús
cuando estornudamos.
When we sneeze.
Pero esto es algo que dice todo el mundo.
But this is something that everybody
no
says.
solamente la gente que es religiosa.
Not just religious people saying this. So you don't have to be a super religious person to say Jesús.
Como todo en España, hay muchas cosas que vienen de un origen cristiano, un origen.
But it does come from a Christian origin, of course. Yes, it does not mean the person is like being super like blessing you necessarily, but
Pero hoy en día,
it's a tradition kind of thing.
pues no en todas partes, no para todas las personas.
Didn't people somewhat believe that your soul left your body when you sneezed?
Oh, this is what I see. This is what she's going to explain.
Eso, la verdad.
Yeah.
Yo, por ejemplo, yo misma puedo decir Jesús muchas veces cuando alguien estornuda, pero sin embargo no lo digo con un sentido religioso. Por lo visto, el origen viene de que
The origin
en el pasado
comes.
la gente pensaba que cuando estornudabas, tú
People used to think, la gente pensaba, people used to think that when you sneeze, your soul goes off with the sneeze.
alma se iba de tu cuerpo. Entonces, si decías
Your soul leaves your body when you sneeze.
Jesús, tu alma vuelve. ¿Y quién?
If they said Jesus back to you, your soul will come back to your body. Okay, so it does come from a religious sort of root thing, but don't be surprised if somebody says Jesus. It may be a little old granny saying it, yeah, but there you go.
We might say bless you.
We might say bless you. You're right. People say bless you, and that's kind of
say health.
It's a behavior kind of blessing, yeah. God bless you, sure. Yeah. Okay.
Debes decir si alguien te dice Jesús o salud, pues simplemente dar las gracias. En la segunda situación tenemos algo bastante más complicado, o no complicado, más amplio. Tenemos muchas más respuestas.
And we're going to have many more ways people can
¿Qué
answer.
decimos si alguien nos dice algo sorprendente? Algo
¿Qué digo? What do I say? Alguien te dice algo sorprendente. Sorprendente. Somebody tells you something surprising or shocking or takes you aback a bit. You weren't expecting to hear that. What might you respond to something surprising?
Tu madre.
De verdad.
No.
¿De verdad?
I know.
Sí, ¿qué más? What else? And you'll
No me
notice these are all
digas.
short. Okay. Bien. ¿Algo más? There's no one right answer. Notice she said this one might have a variety of ways people would respond.
Say, I know.
I know. What? Sí.
I know.
Sí. Okay. Vale. Bueno.
Wow.
Wow. Sí. Exacto. Y wow en español se escribe wow. G-U-A-U. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Padre.
Quizás.
Depende.
Depende. Eso es. Sí. Okay. Otra idea. Antes de revelar todo, before I reveal it all, any other idea?
No.
No? Okay. Vale. A ver, some of these you're going to go, oh, yeah.
creer o aceptar. Pues
Nos cuesta creer. It costs us to believe it. Wow. It's kind of yeah.
tenemos un montón de opciones. Así que voy a ir enumerando.
¿En serio?
En serio. Yeah. Really is en serio. Seriously, people might respond, seriously, really? Okay. En serio. De verdad. There that comes. Okay.
Tenemos ¿en serio? ¿De verdad?
Imposible. Madre mía.
Imposible.
Madre mía.
Dios mío. Dios mío. Sí.
Madre mía. Dios mío.
Es broma.
¿Es broma?
Joke.
Lo que nunca
Es broma. Is that a joke? Sí, es broma. Broma is a joke and people will, so what people are saying to something surprising, do you really mean that? Or are you like pulling my leg, right? So any of those things, and notice these are all short. They're just responses, to something. Surprising, whether that surprising fact is pleasant or unpleasant, kind of doesn't matter, right? They're appropriate for all of those. And she's going to give us a few more.
Nunca decimos es realmente.
Yeah, but we never say realmente. Yeah. More these, en serio, right? En inglés se dice really, and you, realmente. Well, yeah, but realmente is used in a different kind of context. So if you really are responding to somebody as really, is that true? These on the left are more appropriate. En serio, de verdad, imposible, madre mía, Dios mío, es broma.
Eso no lo decimos, aunque en inglés
por lo
digáis
menos uno.
really, en español no decimos.
But not realmente,
y como
guys.
digo, tenemos más. Esta es mi favorita. De todas, esta es la que yo digo más a menudo, que es qué fuerte.
Qué fuerte.
Qué fuerte.
How
increíble.
strong.
Y además, a veces añadimos en un qué fuerte me parece.
Qué fuerte me parece.
Esa es la que yo digo más, desde luego. También tenemos no me digas.
Es mi favorita. Es mi respuesta favorita. No me digas. Es como, don't tell me, but really, we do say almost exactly the same thing in English. You don't say. You don't say. It's the same thing as no me digas. No me digas, right? So we can be responding, just showing surprise. And it can be something dramatic or something non-dramatic, but just something that I wasn't expecting to hear that response. But notice how short all these are. And all of these are super great things to have in your hip pocket to pull out as a response when you're surprised by something. And, and it's very, very easy to grab just 3 of these, right? The no me digas, the en serio, es súper común. I hear en serio all the time and no me digas all the time. And, maybe one other. Que fuerte, I think, might be a little more of a Spain twist on it. And it just my impression. But, it's nice to have some of those in your hip pocket to pull out as a reaction. Okay.
Don't tell me, no me digas. También tenemos ¿cómo?
Oh, sí. Como is also another one. I had forgotten she threw that one in. Como is like, they're like, what? What? Yeah, I know. Como means how, but como? When you think you didn't hear somebody right, did you really mean that? Como? Yeah. Also super good response.
Esto es algo que también decimos cuando no hemos oído algo.
Yeah.
Siempre
But we also use como when you haven't heard somebody quite right.
Cualquier idioma, en los libros suelen ponernos frases muy, muy formales para pedir que alguien repita. Pero en realidad, cuando queremos que alguien
can also be used to ask
algo,
somebody to repeat. So I'm going to flip to the next little segment here. ¿Qué digo? What do I say? Ooh. Oh, actually, she added one more down there. Venga ya. Como en inglés. Oh, come on, go on. Yeah, you don't really believe what somebody's. Oh, come on. Yeah, venga ya. Which is a command. Okay, otra situación. Muy fácil. These are all short. Corto, expresiones cortas, todas. ¿Sí? ¿Qué digo? Para brindar, para brindar, por algo, brindar. ¿Bien? ¿Sí? Brindar es una acción cuando levantamos un vaso, no es como una taza de té, pero es así, bien.
Para
brindar.
Deseo, para...
Esta acción es brindar.
Sí, to toast.
To toast.
Una forma de pan, ¿no?
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Con algo con una bebida fuerte. With a stronger drink than my tea. Yeah. Para brindar.
Salud again. I mean,
Sí.
The Mexican one.
Sí.
Pa arriba, pa abajo, pa centro, pa dentro.
Ah, excelente. Sí, eso, sí, bueno. Hay más. Muy mexicano, sí, sí. Y por todas partes, sí. She's going to focus on that towards the end of her list because it's a long phrase. Algo más para brindar. Anything else for toasting?
Salud. Isn't salud?
yeah, salud.
Salud
Salud.
también, sí,
¿También?
salud. Sí, salud. Ok, vale. Bueno, algo más. Anything else? Todas son.
No.
Should we play a few of these? Sí.
Sí.
Bien. Okay. Salud, Chichin.
Never heard of it.
Chichin, and it's interesting. She kind of relates how she thinks that kind of came from French, but people will tell you it comes from Italian. People will tell you, I don't know where it comes from. It's something Latin, but Chichin. Salud, Chichin. I think because of the sound that glasses make when they clink
that's
together. Chin-chin, yeah, see, chin-chin. Que viene, here it comes. Here it comes. Arriba, abajo, al centro y para dentro or adentro. Yeah, which is up, down, center, and inside. Para dentro, shortening para, to pa dentro, or adentro, inside. That's an old way of toasting. Yeah, up, down, in the middle, and inside. Okay, bien. Y a veces felicitaciones, sí. People sometimes use por nosotros. Yeah, to like saying to us. Yeah, like saying to us, right? Por un año lleno de felicidad. Well, yeah, if you're at New Year's, right? But if you were at a wedding, sí, para la pareja, para los novios, right? Porque tengamos mucho éxito. So, yeah, toasting. Felicitaciones, you could always, throw in the congratulations thing too. Okay.
Intenta no reírte.
Que digo si alguien se cae. What do you say if somebody falls down and does a face plant?
Oh, God.
Face plant.
No.
Dios mío.
Dios mío.
Oh, yeah.
¿Cómo te va?
See, okay, you're getting in the right neighborhood. See, algo breve. These are all short things that you say. These might be a little bit longer than some of the other ones, but still.
I don't know. ¿Quieres un doctor? I don't know.
Bien, bien. Okay, muy bien.
¿Estás bien?
¿Estás bien? Sí, checking on that person, sí.
¿Necesitas ayuda?
¿Necesitas ayuda? Excelente, sí.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, ¿algo más o no? Pero son situaciones que sí, these are things that really happen, right? Sí, aquí sí, ¿está o estás bien? You okay? Exacto. Has hecho daño? That's kind of longer, right? Have you hurt yourself? Te has hecho daño. Have you done damage to yourself? Literally, but that's how that might be expressed. Se ha hecho daño is just the polite way of saying that, right? Te duele, le duele.
Mm-hmm.
Something hurt. Yeah. Necesitas un médico. Necesitas ayuda. Sí, necesita. You can make it the polite way too. Llamo a una ambulancia. Should I call an ambulance? But you're all in the right neighborhood with that. Sí, you're all in the right neighborhood. I think that's the last one she's got on that. Sí, es el último. La última expresión. Y aquí, ¿qué digo? What do I say? Si una amiga te dice que está embarazada, what do you say if a friend of yours says they're expecting?
Felicitaciones.
Felicitaciones.
Dios mío.
Dios mío. Si es el cuarto hijo, quinto
Yeah.
hijo, quizás. Ay, Dios mío. Okay, vale. Quizás, if you know them really well, you can say that. Sí.
Buena suerte.
Yeah.
Suerte,
That's-
suerte. Sí, bien.
Fantástico.
Fantástico. Ok. Reacciones, sí, reacciones. ¿Algo más o no?
Es una chico o chica.
Sí, buena pregunta. Sí, ¿sabes si es un chico o una chica? Sí, buena reacción. Okay, let's see some of hers here. Enhorabuena is another way. It's an equivalent of felicidades. Felicitaciones is the same thing, right? But felicidades, felicitaciones, enhorabuena. I know, in good hour. Well, that's just a way of saying congratulations in Spanish. It just traditionally has been a way of saying that. See? Felicitar, congratulate. ¿De cuánto estás? How far along are you? There's maybe a new one. ¿De cuánto estás? How far along are you? Cuando cumples? When do you fulfill? Well, that's asking when the due date is. Yeah. When are you due? See, when are you due? What's your due date? We often ask, when is your due date? But cuando cumples? Remember, birthday is cumpleaños, fulfilling your years, completing your years. So this cumples is tied to that idea of cumpleaños in a way, right? Because that'll be the delivery day. Cuando sales de cuentas? When do you come out of account? Yeah. Es niño o niña, right? Sí. Boy or girl, of course. So, okay. Y hay una o dos. Okay. ¿Qué digo? What do you say? Si quieres salir del metro si quieres salir del bus. Sí, pero hay mucha gente. You need to get off at your stop, and there are a lot of people in front of you.
Perdone.
Disculpe.
Disculpe.
Disculpe. Perdón.
Permiso.
Con permiso.
Okay.
Eso es. Okay, bien. You got all the right ideas there. Sí, perdona or perdone, right? It depends on if you're using familiar or formal. Sí. Here's one you may want to keep in your back pocket. You may not think about, but it's frequently used. Me deja pasar. O me dejas pasar. Y me deja pasar is, would you let me pass? Which sounds kind of formal. Well, it is kind of formal. Es un poquito más formal, sí. But this is kind of a nice one to add to your hip pocket to pull out. Me deja pasar. Could you let me by, please? And I think that's maybe seen as a little bit formal by those of us who are Americans, but it's a perfectly valid way of asking. And con permiso is great.
If you have enough time to say all that, I mean, you usually have to get off
You wouldn't
quickly,
use
right?
all of these. You wouldn't use all of these. No. Me deja pasar. But, well, look how fast that comes up. Me deja pasar. Me deja pasar. Yeah. Con permiso. Yeah. Me permite. Would you allow me through? Right. You're not saying the through part, but that works as well. Me permite is a good one to have in your back pocket too. Me bajo en la siguiente. I'm getting off at the next stop. Me bajo. I'm getting off. Yeah. Because when we get out of a vehicle, it's bajar, right? When we get up into a vehicle, it's subir. Those are just the two verbs that we use in those situations. Sí, bajan en la siguiente parada. And you're right. That one's kind of a mouthful, isn't it? But, if you take any of these first three are very easy to to use here. Y uno, sí, esto sí es interesante. ¿Qué digo? What do I say? Si quieres cambiar un plan con tus amigos, if you want to, you need to change plans. You know, you promised to meet up with somebody, but you can't make it.
Lo siento.
Okay. Lo siento, and whatever your excuse is, right? Sí, bien. This is probably the most complicated of them all.
Yeah, necesito cambiar.
Necesito cambiar el plan.
El
I
plan.
need to change the plan. Eso sí. Fantástico. Bien. Otra idea.
Huh.
We'll kind of see what.
Y sí, mejor something else.
Okay.
I'll go.
But let's see what she suggests here. This one is probably the most complicated of all the ones she did. But actually, changing plans with friends is a thing that happens. And they're kind of our polite ways to do that. And this one is kind of a biggie because it's, I'm not going to say in all situations it's seen as kind of gauche or rude to change plans, but this te importa, does it matter to you? Te importa que cambiemos para otro día? You're kind of asking permission in this case.
Is that the subjunctive then?
Yeah, this is subjunctive. Not the te importa part, but the other half. Te importa que lo cambiemos? Does it matter to you that we might change for another day? This is really seen as a super polite way to basically you're kind of dumping somebody, but not dumping them because you don't like them, but dumping them because you have to change plans because of an appointment or you don't feel well, or really any number of reasons. But the te importa que cambiemos, does it matter to you, is seen as a super polite way to do that because you're kind of asking permission. And it's going to be really hard for the other person to come back and look like a sore loser or like a Debbie Downer for turning you down. You're putting them in a situation where they have to sound polite coming back. Te importa. The other person is expected to bless that and say, oh, of course, we can change that up, right? Or lo podemos dejar para otro día. Can we leave this for another day? Dejar means to leave it behind, yeah? Lo podemos dejar para otro día. You could change in lo podemos cambiar instead of dejar. Para otro día, for another day. Okay. Y uno más, sí. Al final, no voy a poder ir. I'm not going to be able to go. And this is going to be a mouthful maybe for you to get out. But those top two are super, super easy to use. And, in those cases where we do have to change plans with somebody. So I'll send you that whole video to watch for later. And part of what I'm going to leave for you is kind of a bit of homework, is to think about some of these, some situations, and think about how you would respond. Okay. Ahora, right now, let's see. So I've got some things for you to think about, like, for homework, thinking about situations, what you would react. But here's what we're going to work on right now. Cambiando de tema, changing our subject, changing the subject, changing the subject, cambiando de tema. We're going to go back to this idea of how we use the two past tenses here, right? And let's think about, voy a engrandecer estas fotos. I'm going to make these photos bigger so that we can see them a little more easily. Okay, vale, es mejor. Es mejor. How can we talk about situations, like thinking about what happens in this photo? We're gonna like transpose this into a past idea. You want to describe to somebody what happened during your visit to the park. Okay?
Okay.
And this is a snapshot of what you saw at the park. And you want to describe this morning or afternoon at the park to somebody. And you've got to use past tense to describe it. So you might be talking about what the park looked like. You might talk about what the weather was like at that time. You might talk about what specific people did or what they were doing. And so I want you to think about that and come up with some ideas of how would you describe this morning or afternoon at the park? And what tenses are you going to use to do that? Because it may vary.
So, cuando corremos, alguien pasó en bicicleta.
Después de cuando.
Cuando corremos.
¿Podemos?
Corremos, running.
We were running.
Corrimos. ¿Cuándo corrimos? When we ran.
Alguien pasó.
Okay, someone passed us. Okay, now let's think about that because that is a great idea. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in correr. And I'm going to put in alguien, and I'm going to put passar. Now, let's think about this. Is the idea when we ran, somebody passed us, or when we were running, somebody passed us?
When we were running.
We were running.
What is the most common way we really say that idea?
When we were running.
When we were running, that's going to be the most common way. We're like 99% likely to say it that way. When we were running, somebody passed us. So what do I have to do with correr for nosotros? Because I'm going to say we are these two people here. Okay.
Perfecto.
Corrimos.
Corríamos. And you know what? Probably what might be a little bit better to substitute in here is this word here. Mientras corríamos, because you're talking about
while
people weren't passing us like every single minute of that run, but while we were running, we ran. Oh, somebody did this right in the middle of the run. And they passed us. What's going to happen with the somebody passed? Should that be pretérito or imperfecto? Pretérito. And alguien is how many people? A bunch or one?
One, just someone.
Okay, so if I only talk about one person with passar, pretérito, it becomes pasó. And if I want to say somebody passed us, what little word am I going to add?
Nos pasó.
Nos pasó. So this becomes very simply, mientras corríamos, alguien nos pasó. Fantástico. Okay. See where I'm going with this? See? I'm not saying you're going to have pretérito and imperfecto combined in every single sentence. It really depends on what you're saying. Okay, otra idea de esto. It can be as simple as the weather or just like taking a snapshot in your mind's eye, whatever, lo que sea, whatever it is. Did I hear an había?
Había.
Había might be really, really a good way to start. Había, there was, or there were. Había.
Muchos gente.
Había muchas personas. Había muchas personas en el parque. Sí. Había muchas personas. How about describing what else there was in the park? What do you see in the background?
Árboles.
Árboles. Había muchos árboles en el parque. Bien. Bueno. Algo más. Anything else to describe or talk about what people did? Otra vez, again? I'm sorry. I've got kind of a soft, yeah, I'm not able to hear everything real super clear. Maybe just microphone issue. How about if you want to talk about what these people are doing? They're doing different things.
Un hombre manejaba una bicicleta.
Okay. And un hombre, and we're probably not going to use manejar. But we can put it into imperfecto. A guy was doing this. Which verb do we use with bicicleta? Quite a lot.
Montar.
Montar. So how are we going to change that montar to get the idea of a man was riding? Un hombre?
Montaba.
Montaba. En bici. Por el parque. Sí. Fantástico. Bien. And what if you wanted to change that idea from un hombre montaba en bici, and I'm going to put myself in the place of I am that guy on the bike. ¿Cómo se dice I rode a bike? I rode a bike through the park.
Yo monté.
Monté
Bici por el parque.
Monté en bici por el parque. And por el parque is going to mean through the park as opposed to al parque or para el parque, meaning I wanted to end up there. Bien. Okay, vale. How would I talk about the weather? What the weather was like?
Buen tiempo.
Había.
Buen tiempo.
Yeah.
Probably, okay, sí. Hacía buen tiempo. You're right, it should be imperfecto. Why would this be imperfecto?
Description.
Background, description.
Background description, any of those. Sí, hacía buen tiempo. Había, or I could say hacía sol. Sí, así. Okay. Fantástico. So now, it is not absolutely wrong to use either imperfecto or pretérito. It depends on the idea you want to convey. If the idea you want you to convey is that I did this today and it's done and over with, then pretérito. If I'm describing what was going on when I was sitting just looking at stuff, imperfecto is better than pretérito in that situation, right? If I am just saying what was out there in the park, imperfecto is absolutely what you should use. even there, right? Just telling what was around, right? But this one is a little more complicated because I'm putting myself, if I'm putting myself in the place of these people running, and I say, hey, while we were doing this, somebody passed us, which is a really normal thing to happen in the park setting. Now I've got to set up those two, because the one actividad de corríamos, we were doing this and for a long time. And the nos pasó is an interrupting event, and that has to be pretérito. So that one's governed by some pretty specific rules that are more complicated than just going with, it was sunny, okay? Or it was good weather, or I rode. Okay, a ver. How about if we've got a situation like this? Flores silvestres. Aquí tenemos una foto con flores silvestres. Sí, es una foto con flores silvestres. ¿Qué son flores silvestres?
Wildflowers.
Wildflowers. Yeah, sí, flores silvestres. We cannot use the word wild and just translate it in that sense, because wild is, yeah, that. Okay, so that doesn't work for flowers. With flores does not work. What you're saying is that it's in a Sylvan setting. How many of you have used the word Sylvan anytime in the last year?
Decade?
Not in my lifetime.
Never in my life, not this lifetime.
Well, maybe in grade school or high school, you were told to write a poem, and then you snuck in the word Sylvan because you thought it sounded great. And it does sound great, but it's not a word we use very much. So you can really see that a lot of these high level, because it's a high level word, we have very little use for Sylvan in our everyday vocabulary. But that gets translated into Spanish for the idea of something that grows in a scattered random pattern. Yeah, in the woods. Yeah, silvestres, flores silvestres. Okay, es una foto con flores silvestres. If I translated this into some past ideas, what might I say? Tenemos una mujer, un perro.
Tenía un perro.
Ella tenía un perro. Bien. Perdón.
Blank.
Ella tenía un perro.
Un perro grande.
Un perro grande. Eso es, sí, exacto. How might we say she took her dog
Ella
on a
tuvo.
hike?
Tuvo?
No.
Tuvo?
Llevo.
Well,
oh no, that would be got the dog. Yeah.
Okay. No. Yeah, right. You're on the right track there. Tuvo, you're thinking past had, but tuvo would mean you're right. I heard you say got the dog.
She got the dog. Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't. So
Take,
what do we
take is llevar, like take a ride. That's
Eso
a crazy
es.
one.
Okay, llevar is a great verb, because if I took my kid or my grandkid or my dog or my better half, mi media naranja, and I put them in a car and I drive off somewhere, that's llevar. Okay, ¿cómo se dice? And now this becomes different than tenía un perro, she had a dog, which is correct. Es correcto. Pero, ¿cómo se dice she took her dog? Now I got to take llevar and change that into a past idea.
Llevo.
Llevó. Okay. Ella llevó. Llevó qué? She took what?
Supero?
And does she love that dog?
Yeah, well, see.
Is that dog like a person to her?
Supero.
a su perro. Llevo a su perro en una caminata. On a hike. ¿Sí? Por una caminata, en una caminata, algo así, ¿sí? Llevo a su perro al parque regional, a las montañas, lo que sea, wherever it may be. Ok. ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice she took her dog, but she took a selfie?
Oh.
Tomar?
She
Tomar?
took a selfie.
Ella
We might use tomar.
tomó
Ella
un
tomó.
selfie.
Ella tomó, y sí, ella tomó un selfie. Es así. This is a word that was adopted last year into the language officially. It's been blessed. Tomó un selfie de sí misma, de sí misma porque es mujer, de sí misma con su perro. Bien, bien, perfecto. Me gusta mucho, perdón. Ok, bueno, ¿qué más? ¿Qué más? Anything else we can say about that? ¿Sí o no?
Fue un día cuando las flores silvestres estaban en flor.
Cuando las flores silvestres florecen when they
Bloom? Bloom?
Well,
bloom.
Bloomed.
Yeah, florecer, florecen, sí, florecen. Sí, bien. Okay.
I say un poco frío.
But instead of hace, we're going to make it a past idea. It was a little bit cold, and we might even use the word cool instead of cold.
Había?
¿Cómo se dice? How do we say that?
Fresca?
Fresco? ¿Cómo se dice it was cold?
Había? Había?
No.
Quizás,
There was-
probably
that
one of
was- there
these.
was- yeah,
Either
no.
está
Hace frío. Hace fresca.
hacía
Hacía. Yeah.
fresco. You might hear people express that as estaba fresco or hacía fresco, either way. Regionally, people might choose one or the other verb. No importa mucho. Hacía is more the textbook idea of hacía fresco. It was cold outside. Remember, when we describe weather in Spanish, we're going to have a more limited number of verbs we can use. So the most common verbs you hear to talk about weather are a form of hacer, because the weather makes stuff, or a form of haber. It'll have to be either I for presente or había for past, right? There was or there were. Or estar, right? Estar can also be used. So those three, estar, a form of it, hacer, or había, or I for presente. Por ejemplo, hacía sol, it was sunny. You could also express that with the verb había sol. Either way is considered cool, okay? But weather is going to confine itself to a smaller number of verbs. Okay, but they'll be, the weather verbs will be, generally speaking, imperfecto if they're describing. They'll be pretérito if they talk about the beginning of a weather event or the end of a weather event. And that may happen. But if it's straight out just saying it was cool, it was sunny, right? Just flat out describing it, the long time event, that's imperfecto. Okay. Totalmente distinto. Totally different kind of picture. Sí, es una foto muy distinta.
Ah,
Let's talk about it in the past, though.
okay.
And it can be anything. See, there's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer for describe this picture. It depends on your point of view and with the idea you're conveying.
Llovía mucho.
Llovía mucho. It was raining a lot. And you're just describing what it looked like. Yeah. Not that it started to rain, but llovía mucho. It was raining a lot. Oh, let's say llovía mucho mientras, while
Caminamos.
mientras las mujeres caminaban. Were those two things going on at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what word in there tells us that those were going on same time?
Mientras.
Mientras is a clue that tells us same time. They're in sync at the same time. And these are really descriptions. Okay. Okay. What if I change up that idea and I change it more to the idea of it started to rain when they were walking.
Empezó
A
llueve.
Empezó a. What do we do with that second verb?
Llover.
Llover.
Definitive.
¿Sí? Cuando ellas caminaban. But that conveys a very different picture in the person's head from llovía mientras caminaban. Yeah. Empezó a llover tells you something started in one moment, right? So when we switch out the tense, it paints a different picture of the sequence. Were they same time? Did one thing go boom while something else was going on in the background? Entienden, ¿sí? How would I just say it was really bad weather that day? It was bad weather.
Hacía mal tiempo.
Exacto. Hacía mal tiempo. Hacía mal tiempo. Sí, eso es. Okay. Bien. Is there anything else we can talk about to describe what the women had, what they were wearing on their bodies, anything like that? Maybe I want to say everybody was dressed a certain way because it was raining.
Yeah, everybody was wet.
Everybody was wet. Perfecto.
Yeah, they didn't have on their rain clothes.
Todos. Okay, here's the word for wet. But there are a lot of people there, yeah? Are they all wet? I think so.
Sí.
Okay. Mojados. Mojados. How would I say everybody was wet?
Pardon?
Todos. I need a verb. Necesito un verbo aquí. I need a verb here.
Oh, estaban.
Estaban. Todos estaban.
Temporary
Todos
condition.
estaban mojados. Everybody was wet. ¿Por qué estaban? Why estaban?
So, temporary condition. How they are.
Okay. Yeah. Something that is easily changed, right? Todos estaban mojados. Everybody was wet. Yeah, sí, eso es perfecto. Me gusta mucho. Okay. Might I want to talk about something that they had in their hands or had on their heads or had in their bodies?
Paraguas.
Sola una mujer
Paraguas.
tenía, un paraguas.
Sí. Una mujer tenía paraguas. Sí, tenía paraguas. One had ¿cómo se dice? How would I describe her state that she was ready for the bad weather? ¿Cómo se dice she was ready?
Ella estaba lista.
Estaba lista. Estaba lista. Para la tormenta. She was ready for the
Rainstorm.
storm. Eso es, sí, perfecto. Ok. A ver. A ver, perfecto. Ok. ¿Algo más o no? Anything else or not? ¿Ya está? Is that it?
Sí, una
Ya está.
tenía una falda corta. Una falda corta.
Una falda corta, sí. Una mujer, sí. La otra, because she is not the one with the umbrella, sí es la otra. Sí. Tenía una falda corta. A veces se dice mini falda. Una mini falda, sí, pero falda corta, bien, bien, perfecto, perfecto. Ok, bueno, excelente. Sí, ¿algo más o no? No. Ok, ¿no?
No.
Bueno, una foto más. Es una feria. O quizás podemos decir es un mercado al aire libre. Es un mercado al aire libre. O podemos decir si es una feria. Sí, es posible. Ok. Una descripción. We can talk about what people were doing on either side of those bins that you see. We can talk about the weather. We can talk about the setting, where it was located. We can talk about any of those things. Or maybe you can choose to relate what I did in this place on a certain day. Depende de tu punto de vista. Depends on your point of view.
Okay.
Algunas gente compraron fruta.
Okay. La gente, let's just make it more general. Because alguna gente probably is a little too specific, just la gente, people in general, right? Alguna gente, la gente was buying. ¿Sí? Gente es singular.
Sí.
Si hablamos del pasado, sí, la gente singular en el pasado.
Compró.
La
Compró.
gente puede comprar las frutas.
What would it be? Compró is one way of looking at it. What's the other way of looking at it in the past?
Comprado.
Compraba. Compraba. One is not necessarily better than the other. Compró is more final. Okay, a little more final. La gente compró fruta. La gente compraba fruta. Compraba sería más como was buying. Or people were buying, right? Versus people bought.
Marilyn,
Sí.
maybe I'm wrong, but feria, shouldn't there be an I-F-A-R-E-A? Feria?
Yeah, not.
Oh,
Feria.
feria. Gracias, sí.
You know, okay.
Gracias, sí. Feria. Gracias. Muy bien. Ok. ¿La gente compró o la gente compraba fruta, por ejemplo? Ok. ¿Qué más? What else?
¿Y vegetales?
Vegetales, también, sí, compraba vegetales. How would I tell my friend where this feria or mercado was located?
Mm.
En el campo?
En el campo, sí, pero necesito un verbo. ¿Cómo se dice? It was out in the countryside.
Estaba.
Estaba, ¿sí? La feria, por ejemplo, la feria estaba en el campo. ¿Cómo se dice? It was in town.
En el centro, en el centro.
Ok, con un verbo.
Centro.
Estaba en el centro
En el pueblo?
del pueblo. Estaba en el centro del pueblo, ¿sí?
En una estación de parking.
Estaba, sí, una estación de, sí, en una estación, estacionamiento, estacionamiento, sí, en un estacionamiento, in a parking lot. Oh, I want to give you a brand new phrase. Estaba, if I want to say right in the middle of the street, right in the middle. Whoa, do I need to translate all those little words? I do not. Right in the middle of. Here's your new word for the day. Estaba en plena calle.
Oh, plena.
Plena.
Calle.
En plena calle. La palabra del día. Here's our word for the day. En plena, boom, boom, boom. En plena calle would be the way of saying right in the middle of. Dos palabras. En plena. Nada más. Not a whole bunch of words. In the middle of. No, nada de eso. None of that. Okay. En plena calle. Right smack in the middle of the street. En plena calle. Okay. Podemos escribir el tiempo, por ejemplo. Could we describe anything about the weather?
Oh, es nublado. O está. Well,
¿Cuál? Which would it be?
Hacía.
Yeah.
Estaba.
Estaba nublado. Estaba nublado. It was cloudy. Okay. Vale, sí, estaba nublado. ¿Era nublado? No. Estaba nublado porque nublado es una condición que cambia fácilmente, ¿sí? Y es descripción, nada más, ¿sí? No es un evento, realmente es descripción del tiempo. Está nublado, perfecto, ¿ok? Bueno, a ver.
How would you, Marilyn, how would you use hacía with clouds, or you don't?
No, I could, however, with clouds, because nublado is not clouds. Nublado es cloudy.
Okay.
I could, however, use I if I change nublado into a noun, because I can say there were clouds. Entonces, there were clouds. Había nubes.
Oh, okay.
Sí, en el cielo. Sí,
In the sky.
fantástico, fantástico. Sí, se puede
Chloe.
decir, sí, muy fácilmente. So if I change nublado, cloudy, which is a description, to a noun, nubes, clouds, I could say, oh, there were clouds.
Como se dice partly cloudy?
Estaba parcialmente nublado.
Right. Watch the
That-
weather. on
I see
channel 32.
shadows, so the sun
Sí,
was out
sí.
there.
Right. Telemundo. Telemundo.
Estaba un poco nublado, estaba un poco nublado, estaba un poco nublado, un poco, a little bit, sí, parcialmente, más formal, sí, estaba un poco nublado, ¿ok? Bien, es así, ¿ok? ¿Vale? Ok. Fantastico. I will send that off to you so you can ponder that a little bit. I do want to ask you if I were, would it help for you to prep for next week to do the same thing, but you see the pictures ahead of time?
Yes.
You ponder them during the week?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will send you some random pictures. And now keep in mind, there will be no one right way to describe what happened in those pictures in the past, right? It depends on your point of view. I mean, there is a right or wrong depending on, if you mean somebody was doing, you need imperfecto, right? Or versus somebody, oh, this happened, which has to be pretérito. Okay, yeah, then there's a right or wrong. But it depends on your point of view and what exactly you are expressing. So keep in mind, when I send you new photos, you will be coming up with some ideas. And I don't want you to go hog wild crazy with the dictionary, keep it simple. You absolutely may need to look up some words, but these are going to be about simple activities. I'm going to tag onto that. I'm going to tag onto that these little pictures for you to think about some reactions, quick reactions, like from that first video, things that are quick reactions like that to those situations. So you'll have a combination of a couple of things to think about to prep for next week. Okay, está bien. Okay, ¿alguna pregunta? Any kind of question here? Sí o no? No?
No.
No. Okay. There's another thing I would like you to do, but I would like you to be completely. No, I'm going to allow you a little bit. Okay. I only want you to look up maximum 3 words. Nada más. I don't want ardent searches through el diccionario, ¿sí? Buscando por todas partes en el diccionario. I want you to see how much of this you can get without looking up a lot of words. Now, there's going to be a certain amount of Swiss cheese to this. That's okay. Some holes in the middle. But I want you to see how much you can guess from context. But I'm going to give you a start tonight, okay, so that you don't have to look up one word. This will not rob you from the 3 words you're allowed to look up. Okay. And some of you may know this word and some of you may not. Vamos a ver, we're going to see. Un artículo para leer. Un búho que escapó del zoológico de Central Park. Todavía está suelto y caza por su cuenta.
Owl.
Búho es
Owl.
owl. Now, okay, let's say you don't know the word búho. How often do you talk about búho?
You use Duolingo.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
you use Duolingo. You may know búho. Okay, but you know that búho is something escapó. Oh, del zoológico. You know if it escaped from the
Zoo.
Zoo. It's
Zoo.
got to be some kind of
Animal.
animal. Okay. Todavía está suelto. Está suelto. Está tells you it's a condition of some kind. And if it escapó, if it escaped, and todavía está, and it's still, what do you think suelto might mean?
Missing,
Large.
lost.
Oh,
It's loose.
Libre.
still loose.
It's
Now,
loose.
You had a few that were hit or miss. Yeah. Suelto is loose, free, not in captivity, right? Loose.
Okay.
We would say loose. Okay. Y casa por su cuenta. Casa
Hunt.
comes from casar. It's not the casar of getting
Married.
married. No. It sounds exactly like that casar. It's one of the few words in Spanish. There are a few of them that are like that. It sounds exactly like the other casar, but it's not casarse. Okay. This casar es buscar comida,
Hunt.
buscar y matar a cosas para comer.
Mhm.
Hunting.
Hunt. So the title is An Owl That Escaped from Central Park Zoo is Still on the Loose and is Hunting for Itself. Aquí está el búho. Aquí está una foto del búho y ahora es un búho famoso. ¡Oh! Un búho llamado Flaco. His name is Flaco. ¿Qué quiere decir flaco?
Skinny.
Skinny. I don't know if that was intentional, that his name is Flaco. No me parece tan flaco. He does not look so skinny to me. So maybe that's not really intentionally from Spanish. No sé. I don't know. Pero es una idea. I forbid you to look up more than 3 words. And don't worry so much if, you know something like this is a verb. It looks a little bit like poder.
You could find.
But it looks a little odd. But yeah, it does come from poder. Get as close as you can and we'll step through it. But I don't intend for you to translate every single word. Only look up 3 words. I want you to see how much you can get from context. And if you get 40% from context, actually, you're doing pretty well. 50%. Bien, sí. 80% súper bien. Súper bien. Sí, súper bueno. Es buen trabajo. Okay? Vale, sí. And by the way, there are 2 different words used for owl. Búho is one. Lechuza, which doesn't sound anything like búho, is a different word that still means owl. Why did they have 2 words for owl? Ni idea. Ni idea. I got no clue why there are 2 words for owl, but there are. And people interchange. Why? Porque? No sé. I don't know. But that'll be just for fun. But just see how much you do get, and we'll walk through it next week and fill in what you didn't get. Está bien.
Cool. See?
See? So you'll have some things to look at. How do I describe? Sure, you need to look up some verbs for that to talk about activities, but the whole thing will be passed. That's it. You're going to do another little drill on reactions, what you would say in the certain situations based on that other video. And then we've got el búho, our owl. Okay? Está bien.
See?
Está bien.
Bien, fantástico. Okay. I had another little video, although no, we're going to go too far over. We'll save it for next week. We're going to have something next week also on some different ways we combine words. What you had this week was short reactions. These are different ways that people combine negative ideas. And some of the words you'll totally recognize, but a few phrases will be a little bit new for some of you. Okay? Está bien.
Está bien.
¿Todo bien?
Buenas noches.
Ok, bueno, sí, fue un
Buenas
placer.
noches.
It was a pleasure. Sí, que tengan buena semana, que tengan buen fin de. And everybody have a good weekend. So, okay. Oh, okay. Va a llover, ¿verdad? Va a
Stay
llover
warm.
este fin de semana. Wow. Sí, okay. Está bien. And we'll turn